Sonic the Hedgehog, a game for the Sega Mega Drive, or Sega Genesis if you're weird. Released back in the year of 1991. It was developed by the, at the time, newly formed Sonic team, with Sonic himself being designed by Naoto Oshima after he had won an internal mascot designing contest. After it had been released, it had sold 24 million copies worldwide, with it receiving high praise at the time, putting Sega on the map during the console wars back in the 90s. For me, this game was just always sort of there. I mean, I grew up with the Sonic series, and always sort of knew about this game, so I can't really pinpoint when I first played it, to be honest. The furthest back I can remember playing Sonic 1 was the port to DS on the Sonic Classic Collection when I was around 9 or 10 years old. I never beat the game, actually. I had a lot more fun with Sonic 2 and 3, so I remember typically sticking to those games instead. The game's story goes something like this. Eggman, or Robotnik if you're weird, is an evil scientist bent on world domination, and he's having little animals shoved into machines as living batteries to power his army. He finds out about these 6, and only 6, gems called the Chaos Emeralds on South Island, and goes after them in hopes to achieve his goals of world domination. A blue hedgehog by the name of Sonic isn't for that, and so with his super speed he aims to stop Eggman, or Robotnik if you're weird, in his tracks and snag all 6, and only 6, Chaos Emeralds before him. All in all, it's a pretty typical platformer story. Get the 6 things and beat the asshole fucking everything up. I don't know why that sounds familiar. The gameplay is simple. Just get to the end of the stage as fast as you can. Ideally, with 50 rings in hand to have a chance at nabbing a Chaos Emerald. Hey. You want to see what you get for getting all the Chaos Emeralds? Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the Emeralds don't really get you anything in the original game, so I wouldn't really recommend getting all of them, unless you want to snag and continue by grabbing 50 rings in the most frustrating, dizzying special stage in the Sonic games. Speaking of rings, in general you want to keep those on you, and snag any you see. These act as a shield of sorts, not to be confused with the shield power-up. You see, whenever you get damaged, you'll drop all of your rings with a chance to get them back. Get hit with 0 rings and, well, you're dead. Speaking of the power-ups, the ones here are pretty basic and they take the form of monitors. Just jump on them or roll into them and you get something. There's the ring monitor, which gives you 10 rings, the star monitor, which gives you temporary invincibility, the shield monitor, which lets you take an extra hit, and the speed shoes, which increase your momentum and speed. Momentum. Oh yeah, should probably have mentioned that earlier. Sonic's speed is influenced by the environment around him, gaining momentum while going downhill and losing momentum while going uphill. In fact, you can gain even more momentum by pressing down on the D-pad while moving downhill, causing Sonic to roll up into a ball. You can use this momentum to launch yourself off slopes, though you likely won't be running into many situations where you do that in this game. See, Sonic 1 has this really cool thing where it uses the momentum to your detriment instead of improving the stage design. You'll have these slopes in the way that have no other easy way of gaining momentum, so you'll have to run away from the slope just to turn right back around to have just enough speed to reach the top. Usually these are used to punish the player for missing a jump or something along those lines. However, when it isn't used for that, it really just breaks the pacing of some of the stages. Speaking of stages, let's talk about those. First up is the ever so iconic Green Hill Zone. Very speedy, very colorful. Everything here just pops. You get an excellent idea of what the game is gonna be like. And then you get to Marble Zone and you realize the game was lying to you. It has a great level theme, great music, but oh my god, does it drag on! Pushing blocks into the lava, only to have to wait as the block slowly floats across the lava. It's awful, but I mean, at least the theme's good. I can give it a pass for that. After Marble Zone, you have Spring Yard Zone, an area filled with springs and bumpers. It's not too bad since we finally have speedier segments, but we still have this shit where you have to slowly wait for these platformers to rise, move on, then rise again, rinse and repeat, not to mention this! I can excuse this, especially more than Marble Zone. It's a little more enjoyable, and then there's the next zone, which, let me just get my notes real quick. Ah, right. Labyrinth Zone fucking reeks. God, God, this level is so damn slow, and it just goes on and on. All of this without even bringing up the water breathing mechanic. So basically, whenever you're underwater, you have around 30 seconds before you die. To extend that time, you have these little bubble pockets that occasionally spit out a large air bubble. Grab it, and you're good. At least, when it decides to spit the bubble out before you die. Not to mention the fact that the boss of this zone is literally water. Outrun the water, get to the surface, and go to therapy. Generally, the only saving grace of this zone is the level theme. Speaking of therapy, Starlight Zone! A nice change of pace from Labyrinth Zone. The sense of speed here rivals Green Hill. The colors are a bit muddy, and while it's still way speedier than Marble Zone, it's not all speed. We still have these annoying fans that halt all movement, and these little bomb things are a pain to move around. Other than that, I'd say this level's pretty alright, save for the level theme and questionable mechanics. Finally, there's Scrap Brain Zone, which is okay. The aesthetics are great. The sky's filled with just this red, ominous smog. The floor is made of metal with electrical and fire hazards scattered all over the place. The music is great too. It gives off this real sense of danger and finality, I feel. But while I can praise this zone's aesthetics all day, I just can't say the same for the stage itself. It throws bullshit at you like... How was I supposed to predict that? No. And let's not forget that it still has the mentality of, oh, you can go fast. When I want you to. Thank God this zone only has 2 acts. Before I go on a rant, I'd like to say that the upcoming part has spoilers for the final act and ending. So just skip to the timestamp on the TV real quick to avoid any spoilers. So, you finally get to Eggman, only to see, oh no! You're cornered? What's gonna happen? Eggman jumps down on the button, sending Sonic deep into Scrap Brain Zone. He falls straight down into... Labyrinth Zone. Act 4. Are you fucking kidding me? This stage is a brutal drag. Easily the lowest, most difficult point of the game, and it would be worse if you don't know about the shortcut. If you go past this moving platform at the start, you can find the shortcut to the end of the cell hole. Finally, after that quick detour, Sonic gets back into Eggman's base. You run to the right, ready to square up, and... Never before have I been more disappointed. This is genuinely the most underwhelming final boss of any game I've ever seen. It had everything so right and then flopped at the last second. Yeah, here's one for the road, asshole. At the end of the day, I feel like Sonic 1 just gets so much wrong while doing enough right to be somewhat of an enjoyable time. I can't say I had a whole lot of fun playing this game, as you might have been able to tell. The strongest points of Sonic 1 are the visuals and the music. For the time, the graphics were ahead of their time. And as for how well they've aged today, I'd say they've aged pretty damn well, all things considered. Really, for me, Sonic 1 feels more like it's laying down the groundwork for the future of the Sonic the Hedgehog series. And what a bright future it had rolling up. If you want to play the game now, it's a bit tough since Sega removed the Steam port of the original game, but you can still find this game on Sonic Origins. Though, I haven't played the collection for myself, so I can't speak on the quality. Personally, I would recommend the fan port to PC titled Sonic 1 Forever, which is a fan-made PC port of the 2013 mobile port made by Christian Whitehead and Headcanon. You will need to find APKs of the mobile port yourself to get it to work, however. And if you're looking to get a physical copy of the game, it's gonna cost you anywhere between 80 to 10 United States dollars. Well, with all that said, I gotta do some fishing in the ceaseless void. Hope I can find a better game than Sonic 1 that way. Until next time!